Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas James and welcome to Spiritman Studios, the movie review site where we review movies that drop right after a Super Bowl. That's right, today we're reviewing The Cloverfield Paradox, the third film in this Cloverfield franchise that aims to answer some of the most pertinent questions about the franchise. In an effort to provide the Earth with a new power source, a group must provide a new particle. But time is ticking as the Earth plunges into war, and there are some unintended consequences that come with these experiments. This is a very interesting film to talk about, considering the fact that this film has been through development hell for so long, and the fact that this film unceremoniously gets dropped on Netflix. Some people have said that this should be put in the cinemas, and unfortunately I have to say no, because this definitely is a made-for-TV type movie. Even if it has a good cast and a competent director and competent direction, this film is kind of all over the place. The first thing I'll lay down for you is that the direction in this film is competent. It made me feel like these characters were in a hurry. Every character's actions felt normal to me, at least, and the acting on display here is superb, especially from Daniel Bruhl and a lot of the other actors and actresses. And surprisingly, David Oyelowo was in this film as well, and I liked him a lot. The acting, direction, visuals, they're pretty good. But the thing that needed to be reworked a bit is the script. The script likes to introduce a lot of concepts, but then add more onto it without any sort of explanation. So maybe a couple rewrites could have helped this film become a little bit more elevated. Now, I am a huge fan of the original Cloverfield and 10 Cloverfield Lane. Both films, in my opinion, I would recommend to anyone that's getting into science fiction horror, and I like the fact that in every movie of this franchise, it has become different genres. They're all different films with different feels, different directions. And for that, I appreciate how Cloverfield is handling its own movies. But the thing is that this one didn't feel all that special, and it makes sense why they put it out after the Super Bowl without any sort of forthcoming or any sort of advertising thing. Just like, hey, here's a quick little blurb on the Super Bowl, and then it's on Netflix right after the game. And I watched it, and it definitely did feel unceremonious. The one thing about this story in particular is that it feels like it's very derivative of other films like Alien or Event Horizon or Final Destination. A lot of different things just don't feel unique. It feels like a lot of elements were just thrown in and was like, hey, people like this element from this movie, this element, hey, let's just combine them all together in one movie. Sometimes that can work, but other times, I don't think it worked. Now, for me personally, as a fan, it does answer some of the biggest questions, which I won't get into, because spoilers, I don't want to do any spoilers for this video. But let's just say there's some satisfying answers, but then it goes back to giving us more questions, which seems like the most... It's very frivolous. It's a very frivolous film, because as soon as it answers one question, it keeps giving us more questions that apparently is supposed to be, answered in another movie. I don't know. Apparently there is going to be a Cloverfield 4 later this year or next year. I don't know how that's going to work, but essentially the Cloverfield Paradox, I should say, is a movie that has some good ideas, but keeps putting more on, expecting you to buy into it and make sure that you can be invested in, but in the end, it just seems like a bit of a sloppy mess with some good elements attached to it. And don't get me wrong, the good elements in this movie are worth praising, but it's just those things about the story that feel very messy, very sloppy, and they needed that rewrite that desperately could have fixed this film. So, in the end, I'm going to give The Cloverfield Paradox a C+. It's a very admirable film with some pretty good scores. It has a really good score by Bear McCreary, if I say that right. I'll put the name of the real guy in the title bar. It has some good direction, has some good acting, some decent visuals, but the story needed some rewrites. Thank you all so much for watching this review, and I am not looking forward to Friday's review, because no one wants to review 50 Shades Freed.